Today we're just going to cover a couple of common leaks on a 727 or 904 Chrysler transmission and how to fix them. Unfortunately, for at least one of them, you have to pull the transmission, and perhaps, depending on your vehicle, you may have to pull it for a second one too. But let's get started. While it's out, of course, we're going to knock the grease off of it, clean it up just a little bit. And here it is done. It wasn't meant to look like it went through a hot tank, just the casing or anything. But so if you get up in the morning and there's transmission fluid on the ground under your transmission of your car in the driveway or wherever, good chances is it's coming from the seal, the torque converter, the pump seal that's right behind the torque converter there. And obviously you're gonna have to pull your transmission to put that in. And if it's a little bit to the side, it could be coming from this gear selector seal that seals it, goes down into the valve body. Now, with any luck, it could be a transmission pan gasket that's leaking, and that would be kind of obvious if you look around. But most of the time, if your transmission is 45, 55 years old, that front seal or this could be the culprit and why it leaks. Don't throw out this O-ring gasket that seals the dipstick tube. I've had them leak out of there too. We're going to start with the front seal, and that requires pulling the torque converter out. And that right there is your seal. First, we're going to remove that seal. You can get in there with the screwdriver if you want and make it come out. Or you could buy one of these for 10 bucks. And they just go inside there and they allow you to pop this out without much effort or scratching. I mean, I already got my 10 bucks worth. Now let's look at the seal, and it's got the Chrysler emblem on it. So this is probably my culprit. It was probably leaking. It doesn't feel brittle. Next, we got to get inside there and clean that so it is dry. Make sure there's no transmission fluid sitting in there. Where the OD of that seal is going to seat, boy, it feels nice and smooth, and that's what you want, and it's dry. Means you got to pull the transmission out for this. By George, get a good seal. It's not a time to, what I'm saying, guys, it's not a time to save $1.77. You got to pull the transmission to do this. Get a good seal. Some people put the new seal in dry. I'm fine, okay. Some people like to use something like the black ultra black RTV sealer or this ultra gray. Fine. And some people like the Indian head slack. Fine. However you want to do it is fine. I've done it. I generally never put them in dry. I generally put some sort of a RTV or Indian head slack on there. Today we're going to use the Indian head gasket shellac. And I'm just going to put a coating around there like that. It doesn't take a lot. There you go. We'll get that started like that. Now, some people use a plastic hammer and tap it around. Some use a rubber hammer and tap it around. Or you can go to your scrap wood pile and make something that kind of looks like this, that hits both of them, and you just tap that in. Like that. Yep, that's flush. It's in there even all the way around. Somebody always wants a part number. There's your seal number that I used on this 727. I believe that was where mine was leaking. with the Chrysler emblem, it's a very good chance that that was the original seal, and this is a 77. So you do the math. But while it's out, I'm going to replace the gear selector seal too. Let's see how that's done. So this would be your kickdown linkage, and this would be your gear selector. We got to take these off. 7/16 bolt here, and you just really got to loosen them is all you got to do. Loosen them pretty good, and then they should just pop right off with even a broken screwdriver for encouragement. There we go. And now this one. There we go. Now I'm just going to use regular carb cleaner and just kind of clean all that up around there. So if you look on the top here, there's a clip, a little clip. I'm not taking that clip out. I'm just leaving all of this on here. I'm just going to try to take that seal out. And the only reason why I'm doing this, now maybe in this van with the doghouse off, might be your best chance at replacing this if it was leaking in the vehicle. But if you got a duster or something, man, I would just pull it. It's just so much easier. Actually, that looks really dry. I no doubt would not have to replace it, but I'm going to put a new one in because it's probably the old original and I don't want it leaking on me in 6 months after I get it back in. So they do sell a tool like this that you're supposed to screw into that and pull it out. Kind of a bad design. They don't offer much threads for one, and number two, if you got this sticking out, it ain't got enough depth here to reach it, see? And this is screwed all the way back and it's not going to reach. So I'm not using that. I'm just going to tap this really thin screwdriver in that's a little bit bent this way, away from this. And I'm just going to try to tap that in with using a plastic hammer. Real lightly, like that. I'm sure real transmission experts are cringing at this. And I think I won. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit more carb cleaner just to blast that out real quick. Now some might use an emery cloth or something on this just to make sure it's smooth as glass. But I am not. Now on this little guy, I am going to use my Ultra Gray RTV. I am going to put just a little bit of wheel bearing grease around this. Like that. And then let's see if we can get this in here. Alright. That's got to go flush also. You can come up with your own methods. I got this. Goes right on top of there like that. You can buy these off of eBay for like 20 bucks. They come with this and this. I didn't use this, you saw, but I am going to use this. And I'm just going to slightly tap her in place. That's got to go all the way flush. Don't beat on it, and I got a light plastic hammer. Like that. You can hear the tone change too. So that's nice and flush. Brand new seal. And now we'll put this back on. I kind of sprayed around here where the fitment is with the carb cleaner. Clean it up a little bit. Clean parts fit better. If you notice, there's a flat here and there's a flat here. You just got to line up the flat. And when it's all the way down, you got it. Then just snug it back up. You don't have to crank the tar out of it. Thing of beauty. Same thing with this. You got a flat spot. It's going to go like this. There you go. Tighten this up. That's all there is to it. And then when you go to put your torque converter back in, you'll want to make sure you use well, some people use transmission fluid around here. Just take your finger and wipe some around there, or wheel bearing grease, just so it doesn't start up dry. There's the first click. At the bottom of the bell housing, I got about 3/4 of an inch. Not enough. Turn it. There it goes in the rest of the way. Now I got about, what, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4. And that's how you know when you got your torque converter all the way in, or else you'll have a problem. So that's the two hardest to fix, you know, of the common seals that somebody would fix to get their transmission to quit leaking, is the gear selector seal and the torque converter seal. I'll show you, I'll point out a couple of other seals that are fairly easy to fix in the vehicle. I'm not going to demonstrate that. It would be the same concept. Let's look at that. One is the tail shaft. See, it's the back of the transmission. The tail shaft seal, it's got this flat thing here. You can just tap that out. Very easy to do in the car, on any car, if they leak. And the second one, this just pulls right out, guys. I can pull this out like that. And this here is the other one. There's just a rubber O-ring on the end of this dipstick tube, and it just shoves inside that hole there, guys. That's really all there is to it. I don't like to seal this one until the transmission's in the car because it might get disturbed. I just use a thin coat of RTV around that O-ring and shove it in there, or with a new O-ring if it's leaking. And problems generally always solved. Again, this is one that's pretty easy to fix in the car, and so is the tail shaft. Well, that's the two seals I wanted to show you, the gear selector seal and the one behind the torque converter. Really easy to do once the transmission is out, but removing the transmission is the problem. So use a good seal it up good, and put it back in without worry. And I'm kind of beating the heat. Until next time,